course, I think that's wrong. But you got to look past that. It wasn't, of course, that's where the feeling started, and Adin's right talking about the perspective. But a lot of Ye24 is talking about APAC, the biggest lobby, and you talk about the ADL, the people that control the media, the people that censor you the most. They talk about certain things that you're not allowed to say. Like they always bring up Hitler as the person that's the most demonized person of all time. That's the example of the most evil person, even though there's dictators in history that have killed way more people, that have been part of bigger genocides. They're never seen as demonized. People celebrate people like Mao is celebrated in China, and people wear these shirts of dictators who have killed far more people. But Hitler's always seen as the most evil person, and why? It's because there's a specific narrative that's been trying to push for all of history.
This is one of my issues with you, because you are one of the people who like just to repeat talking points, but you never, and I know you are an actual thinker. Do you think that Hitler should be actually celebrated? Yes or no? And I'm asking you.
I never said he should be celebrated, but my point is, I'm not just repeating talking points. Hold on.
You argued the point.
No, I didn't say, I never said that. You're putting words in my mouth.
No, you did. You argued a point that worse people than him are celebrated. Let me ask you this question. Do you think he should be celebrated? What do you think? Don't tell me.
I don't think he should be celebrated. I think he actually was anti-Semitic. I think him.
What are you arguing? So if you're saying that you don't think
you want me to tell you? You want me to tell you? He is always seen by the left, is always seen like literally worse than Hitler. If a leftist was ever able to get a time machine, they'd say, I'm gonna go back and kill Hitler.
You're not left, but you say you don't celebrate it. What are we talking about?
I'm saying that he is always seen as the most evil person, the most demonized person, but there's a lot of dictators and a lot of people. Stalin killed more people than Hitler, but they always picture Hitler as the worst person of all time. And why? Why is that? Why is the narrative painted towards he is the worst person of all time? It's because a certain amount of people control the narrative and control history.
Your point is now becoming, okay, I'm not saying that Hitler isn't evil, but there's more evil people. Okay, great. Congratulations. We'll give you a cookie for that. You're saying that the guy who you're basically unwilling to defend is a piece of shit, but there's other pieces of shits. No one ever said they weren't pieces of shits.
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, bro. There's no room to ever defend Hitler, bro. Ever. I'm just saying in any way, just say anything about trying to fucking take... Bro, he killed so many innocent Jewish people, bro. Hitler was bad. He was evil. Like...
Yo, I love watching Sneako get on these like debates. Sneako always loses because he's a great thinker, but he never puts his points together in a logical form that people can't easily debunk.
No, there's simple things. There's certain topics that you can't really talk about on platforms without getting in trouble.
You're on Rumble, right? You're on Rumble, so say it.
But you're on a kick.
You could say it.
Everybody on my YouTube, I'm about to cut my YouTube stream. Please all come to Rumble because I'm about to get real with Sneako. Sneako, I'm going to tell you the point you just made. This is the retarded point you just made, right? Okay. Let me try that. This is like the equivalent, right, of me saying, yo, of course the KKK is bad, but why don't we talk about this other group that's bad?
Like, that is true. Yeah.
It's not a defense for the KKK, my nigga. Again, nobody ever...
My point is, why has the left pictured this one person as the worst person of all time? Why is that? I'm not trying to compare evil, but why is it that Hitler is seen as the most evil person of all time?
Because he was the leading Nazi and he fucking killed over 6 million fucking Jews. Did he not?
Are you still on YouTube?
What?
No. We're on Rumble, straight Rumble right now. What's up?
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's not even justified, Sneako. He is the most evil man of all time.
Sneako. This is one of those topics where I can just tell you're arguing to argue, bro.
Yeah, you are, Sneako. You are. You're smiling. I just saw
you to argue.
Bro. Come on.
There's people like Pol Pot. There's people like Mao. There's people like Genghis Khan. There are people who raped villages. There are people. Slavery still exists here,
and they're all in a similar category. They're all in a similar category, and they're all evil.
Why is it that people get so passionate and so adamant about Hitler, but other people they're just like, oh, it's cool, or they can be sold at a store?
Who says it's cool? Who?
People celebrate Mao. People celebrate Karl Marx. People celebrate Stalin.
Who? I don't know anyone that celebrates Stalin or fucking
no. Mao has statues all over China. Mao has golden statues everywhere, and it's estimated he killed like almost I'm not sure how many people, but millions and millions of people.
Sneako, you're not arguing these points in China. You're arguing these points in the West, the USA. Who the fuck is actually championing these guys you're talking about?
In the West?
You're too smart. You're too smart to come
on. But it's not about championing. It's about demonizing. Why is this the most demonized person? You're making it say I'm not celebrating Hitler. I'm trying to point out, like, why is this the most demonized person?
Sneako, the narrative about any world leader, right, is different. Depends on where you're at. Because number one, media, news, and everything else differs where you're at. You know what I mean? Obviously, when you think about, like, for example, I'm from the Caribbean. Our, indoctrination and also teaching about what the slavery was, we're not that fond of even the British. But the British, if you live in the UK, they're gonna say, we helped Jamaica and we helped these Caribbean countries actually get more modernized. So it always differs. I'm only talking to you about the West. You're talking about what people talk about, view these guys in China. Who's praising them in the United States of America? We're here. I know you.
I'm not talking about praising. I'm not talking about praising. But we look at historical figures. We look at the founding fathers, for example. All these people owned slaves. But you can look past that, and you can look at the good that they have done, and you can look at how they push for freedoms.
You're moving. You're right. But you're moving the goalposts. If you admit you're moving the goalposts, we could obviously have this debate.
How am I moving the goalposts?
Because you started talking about Hitler. Hitler isn't the goddamn founding fathers. Hitler is clearly.
That's my point. My original point is that he is the most demonized person, and you can only call him a bad person. You have to call him horrible because of the Holocaust, but you can't look at how he brought Germany back together. You can't tell him how.
What are you talking about, bro? It doesn't it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He brought Germany back together. Why does that matter, bro? Why are you justifying Hitler? You can't.
Yo, Sneako.
Bro, what is? Come on, bro.
Someone who's like, you're coming across like someone who loves to debate for the purpose of debating, except you don't have your facts.
Sneako, talk about perspectives. Brother, listen, you gotta understand, you probably have people that watch you that are Jewish, bro. I'm Jewish myself. That's hurtful to say that. I'm just letting you know.
What did I say exactly that was hurtful?
You're justifying Hitler. You're saying, oh, but nobody talked about Hitler brought Germany back together. It doesn't matter, bro.
What you're trying to say is that Hitler wasn't that bad because other people were worse.
That's not what I'm saying either. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that you could. The whole point is that you have to call Hitler an evil person. You have to call him the worst person of all time.
Y'all are trolling.
A lot of historical figures have done terrible things, but you can still look at some of the good they have done. You can look past that. You can't do that for Hitler. He's the one person. He is the most evil person of all time. That's why everybody says that. And my point is, who painted that narrative act? Who was the one who wrote his?
Everyone has done good in their life, Sneako. Everyone has done good things.
I'm saying the same thing to you in multiple different ways. Yes, you're right. What you're trying to allude to, in a sense, is that life is about perspective. In some parts of the world,
nah, bro, y'all pissing the fuck off. Someone call me soft, bro. It's not about being soft.
Are terrorists.
What if
just like when we're in the West?
Chat, what if I said some shit about why is it about Jews?
Like
what if I said shit about blacks
or fucking? I'm not saying that's not true.
Or Asian, the Asian community.
You're trying to align and try
to justifying the KKK creator.
I'm not trying to. That's you moving the goalposts. I'm not trying to justify that whatsoever. I'm not trying to justify the Holocaust.
You can't justify any of these people
because you're saying that
they're all horrible.
He wasn't as bad as other people.
Put Germany together.
That's trying to humanize.
I didn't say that either.
Germans hate Hitler.
I think it's okay to humanize people. I think it's okay. I think it's bad to see people as only evil.
Was Hitler a horrible person based on what you know about him? So a net sum. Is it positive as in, oh no, he did good, or wow, he did a lot of fucked up shit? I say he did a lot of fucked up shit. What do you say?
Of course, I think he did a lot of fucked up shit, but you got to look at who is telling us these stories and who is telling us what went on. Like in the West, Obama is seen as a really good person, but in Libya, they think that he brought slavery back. They see him as a war criminal. A lot of people aren't even aware about that because of who's pushing the narrative.
Sneako.
What if it was flipped, Chad?
I see the background.
What if it was flipped?
Just sail by.
What if it was flipped, Chad?
What are you talking about, Libya, my nigga?
What if I said the KKK? You know what I'm saying? Chad, what if I said the KKK creator?
You're right.
Real quick.
Obviously.
What if I said the KKK creator fucking, he did all that shit, but nobody talks about the Kick It creator created fucking sandwiches or some shit. Like it's justified, bro. It's wrong. He's not right.
All right. Except you're trying to do this twisted form of trying to normalize, or maybe not normalize, let me not put words in your mouth, but you're trying to say, well, to some people, Hitler wasn't bad.
That's you're just saying a bunch of stuff that I never said. You talk about moving the goalposts. I'm just questioning, why is he the one person that is seen as the most evil person of all time, when there's a lot of people that have done evil things and they're never seen in that category, and you could look at the positive things that they have done. He is the one person that you have to say he was horrible, he was terrible, he's irredeemable. And then you even have this conversation, and then people get really triggered, like Adin's you're muting the mic and talking to this chat.
It's not
people
right,
you're not able to talk about this without getting extremely offended.
Because you're not Jewish. Are you?
What does that have to do with you see the identity politics act? Like, if you even talk about it, people are like, I'm Jewish, I can't have this conversation. You should be able to have to talk about it without putting these, like, it's just a conversation. I'm not saying he's a good person.
No, Sneako. It matters because a lot of people who debate for the purpose of debating, they never understand the hurt and the pain. It's like a lot of white people talking about slavery and that basically say, hey, get over it, we're in 2023. When obviously people who are still feeling the remnants and actually the ramifications of what slavery did to not only their community and also their family and also their lineage.
Sneako is
it's
not
going to be a little bit more
idiots.
than just, hey, listen, let's just talk about, this is not identity politics at that point. You're talking about people who might.
What is identity politics?
Because y'all are not understanding my perspective.
You're talking to someone who might
if my mom was in the stream, she would cry. Y'all are not understanding perspective, bro. It doesn't matter.
Because of what you're talking about.
Sneako's
talking
family.
about it in a,
bro, y'all are not talking about perspective.
We're just
bro.
having
if it was
a discourse of opinions.
And it was another race that you guys are race or your background.
Okay,
it would be a different story. Oh, yeah, I know it, bro.
Ancestors.
Stop
if
being
you're not
fucking
able
weird.
to have a debate because of your ancestors, then like that's holding back a lot of conversations.
Sneako, that's like me saying, yo, I never met none of my ancestors that was slaves, so why the fuck I give a fuck about slavery? Brother, you sounding crazy right now.
There's a difference between giving a fuck about slavery and being able to talk about slavery. You can be able to talk about it without saying, I'm offended because my ancestors. Like, it's a discussion. Slavery still happens now. A lot of different ethnicities were enslaved.
I don't think he's shutting down because he's not willing to talk about it. He's shutting down because you're not empathizing with maybe the effects of what that did to people like him.
Same thing with me. I have ancestors, like my grandfather, for example, was possibly in a work camp. My grandfather from Europe was possibly, like, we're finding stuff out about that. And I'm able to have this conversation without getting extremely offended because I've never met this person. My grandfather, we should be able to have these conversations without getting like, oh, I'm Jewish, I'm black, so slavery is the worst thing ever. I'm Jewish, so the Holocaust is the worst thing ever. Like,
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. I get what you're saying. I do. But
what point did I really make in this debate? You guys got really angry. What did I say?
I got mad when you said nobody talks about Hitler. You said Hitler's the most evil man. Nobody talks about how Hitler tried to bring back Germany or some shit like that. Brought Germany back. That's why I got really upset with you.
And you talk about perspective. Like, your whole point is perspective right now. Can't you try to empathize with the fact that he saw his country? Hold on. You didn't even let me finish. How a World War I soldier saw his country crumble in real time. They saw the Treaty of Paris and how the rest of Europe screwed over Germany. And this guy's extremely angry and he wants to mobilize Germany. If you want to talk about perspective, that's the guy who saw his country get crumbled and he wanted to bring it back. There's a perspective that people should be able to empathize with. Does that justify the Holocaust? Absolutely not. But this is a conversation that people are not able to talk about.
Sneako, but why have that conversation? What's the point? What is the point of this? Are you going back in time? Do you want to give Hitler his flowers?
To break the Overton window, because we talk about like the benefits of Ye 24. Ye was the first person to say like, okay, let's actually look about this. We immediately shut out these conversations, and then we're able to not even question history and not question a possible narrative that might have been sold to us in schools from history books that were written by certain types of people. They lie in history a lot.
Respectfully, and even with, you know, Kanye speaking on like the Holocaust like that, like, I mean, maybe I don't know how he feels about slavery, but it's like there's a lot of families who, you know, their whole lineage has been devastated by that. They wouldn't just allow someone that was not even black to speak about slavery and just kind of impose what, like, you have Kanye talking about, oh yeah, let's forget all that. Let's just talk about the Holocaust, like in a different, bro. Come on, bro. Like, you understand what?
I didn't even say that. You're just putting words into my mouth because people are. This is the point. I'm just trying to call out the programming. You even talk about this. You even say like, "Hey, maybe we should look at Hitler's perspective." When we talk about perspective, you even say that, and people get so angry. People like are so adamant to defend this thing. If you talk about slavery around a lot of black people, are like, "My ancestors were enslaved." Well, so were Irish people were slaves. Jewish people were slaves. There's slaves right now in Libya. You can argue that the people in China are slaves, but do people get that? Why don't the Chinese people get so mad about like when people make jokes about the iPhones and people jumping off the roof? You don't see Chinese people and Asian people be like, but the kids in China, they don't do that because it's not pushed. It's not pushed in the books. We are not sold a specific narrative. That is the programming. And that's why I'm glad that he was able to talk about that because he shifted the conversation for so long. He's the most evil person ever. He's the most evil person ever. Well, is he? Were there people that killed more people? Were there genocides that happened in other countries that we don't talk about as much? Why is this the one thing that we are focused on so much in U.S. history and not about other evil dictators? That's the whole point. It's not me trying to defend. It's not me trying to go and champion. You made it seem like I'm trying to celebrate. I never even said that. I'm just saying it's good to think about things in a different way because maybe we were sold a specific narrative.
A straight question, and you struggle to answer. I said, was Hitler a net positive or was he an evil person?
I don't think he was a good person. No.
So you agree that he was a piece of shit?
Why are you trying to get me to say the same thing that everybody else is saying?
No.
Bro. What? He is a piece of shit. Do you agree?
Yo, I don't think he was a good person, man. I do not. I think he was anti-Semitic, of course. I think that he was a total dictator. I think he was egotistical. I don't think he was a good Christian. I don't think. But
you're being a bitch on these topics. I'm gonna tell you what. Yo, somebody.
I'm not saying he's a piece of shit, just like you.
No. Because
I'm gonna end this shit,
when
bro.
you're unwilling to admit certain truths, in the sense of, yo, somebody might be an asshole, or somebody might have an attitude, or somebody might not be the nicest of guy. But he's not an evil person. That's not an evil person.
I never said he wasn't an evil person. But you want me to get that to just agree with this?
You've never said yes.
Like, no, I'm gonna be honest. Sneako, like, I can actually see where you're getting at, but it's still not even, bro. I'm Jewish, but like, and my people, my family's family, like, you know, ancestors and shit, they went through it. I never even got to experience it. So I'm just saying we all didn't experience something like that. Like, I mean, for real, you're rolling your eyes and stuff. It's just hurtful. Like, you gotta understand that anyone that's like disagreeing, like, what if
did I say it's hurtful?
I didn't fuck with how you like. It just came off how you were justifying it.
Okay, but what did I say specifically that hurt your feelings?
I'm gonna be honest. It hurt when you said nobody talks about how Hitler brought Germany back, was bringing it back.
That's hurtful.
Like, it's just kind of justifying it in a way. It just felt like you were justifying it. That's all.
Okay, if you celebrate the founding fathers, are you justifying slavery? Or are you actually looking at the good they did for freedom of speech and the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms? Like, if I wave the American flag, am I celebrating slavery? What's the difference?
I actually didn't think of it like that. But you got to understand.
They're not going to clip that, though. They're not going to clip that when fucking DeZerto tries to call me a Nazi after this debate.
Abraham Lincoln abolished slavery.
Yeah, but not even, see, a lot of history is manipulated by people. Abraham Lincoln didn't care about the slaves. If you actually looked at his speeches and look at what he talked about, the Civil War was not really about slavery. It was about states' rights. It was like a lot of people in the North were just as racist as people in the South. If you actually really read into what happened in history, a lot of it is manipulated by a specific narrative, and what they tell us in school is not a lot of times what happened. Abraham Lincoln didn't give a fuck about black people. You think he cared about blacks? Really? You think he cared about slaves? It was about the banks. It was about taxing the South. It's always about money.
Yeah, see, I don't know my history, bro. That's why I'm getting away from this stuff.
This is why we need to look into things more. But this is how they prevent us from looking into things more, because we get so offended before you go look past the wall. I'm trying to tell you, when I said that was that bad, I didn't even.
Yeah, but Sneako, you're doing that red pill bullshit where you say something.
I gotta pee, Chad. I gotta pee.
Off-putting to actual reasonable conversation. Then you try to bring maybe a point that could be thought about, and then you're like, "Well, did I trigger you enough? You can't like." The first conversation about Hitler, I just think, was absurd.
I'm using the restroom. Go ahead.
If you talk about the founding fathers, I actually think that you might be like that. Only that point. There is a conversation to be had there, but it's not a conversation that behooves or actually defends Hitler. When you juxtapose that with your defense or you even normalizing Hitler, it's still going to seem ridiculous. But if you just want to go into a conversation about the founding fathers, I think that's separate. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, brother. Like you're trying to equate like.
Yeah, I'm just trying to point out how there's a specific narrative that we're all supposed to believe in. We're so emotionally attached to this part of history that most people don't even really know about. And why? It's because we hear so many times Hitler's evil. Hitler's the most evil person. If I went back in time, I could kill Hitler. And so we start believing these things. We start attaching ourselves emotionally to the subject without looking really deeply into it and without comparing other figureheads in history. That's the point. I'm just trying. It's not red pill bullshit. It's just trying to point out the fact that a lot of us are programmed and we don't even realize it. This is a good test to how people are programmed.
Sneako, let me ask you this question. What's your overall goal? Because sometimes I watch you spew some of this narrative and I'm like, it doesn't help you. Definitely doesn't help you financially. It doesn't help you gain more allies. Or
I care about truth. I genuinely care about truth. I like to unplug myself and wake myself up and wake other people up. I've been plugged in. I've bought into some woke garbage before, and I think that it holds you back. And I don't want anything to be able to hold back my mind. I would like to have a free mind. So the active pursuit of that is extremely important to me. If I'm going to take financial hits for it, then fuck it. I think the truth is more. That's the most important thing for me to talk about.